Any other logistic questions? You know, there may be something. Logistic type questions? Like anybody, anything?
Would it be okay if we left, if we all met at the tent, but left our bags right in front of the house, so we don't have to carry?
That's fine too, yeah. But the thing is, there are people who stay here and there. I guess it's okay. If we have too much to carry, leave it in front of the building and we'll do a quick pickup. But I need everyone loaded so that I can do it.
At the tent?
One of you asked me whether you can stay back for a long time so that you can talk to Dhruva or College about that. If anybody else wants to stay longer.
Stay longer means tomorrow and the next day, like that?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Minnesota is saying from do our bags have to be loaded by 10. So.
You're in which van? Which city did you come from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Oh no, you guys are going to be driven to the airport by Srikanth, who drove you here later, so that you can stay for lunch and then you can go. You can talk to Srikanth. He has some ideas about where you can stop on the way. You know, there's some caves or something. So.
A question I have for those of you from Minnesota. What he just explained is after breakfast, there's no formal activity. So now, would you from Minnesota, you can let me know after class, would you like some kind of, I don't know what, like a facilitated discussion on something or other or something or other? I see some heads nodding. Maybe you'd like a break. Maybe you'd like something. So get together and give some feedback. You know, he's the person you give the feedback to. And there's probably, Subal, when are you leaving?
10:30.
Okay. If it's possible, we'll try to do something that's a facilitated discussion. One idea, if there isn't, is you can have your own groups, you know, a group or two groups or something, and have some suggested topics to discuss amongst your group. And you give some thought to that as we're going forward. That's maybe the practical thing. I mean, you certainly can do that in your vehicle and you're going back, but while here, this is a nice place. And this is my thought, the more you bring in and share with one another, it'll strengthen your relationships for sure. And someone sharing this and someone sharing that, because you're going to get in a plane and you're not going to be in a group anymore once you're in the plane. So it's okay.
One more announcement I forgot on that. So this farm has very dedicated residents who take care of it. They just have voluntary contentment. They're not making a big paycheck or anything. So if any of you want to donate to the farm out of your own desire to do so, please, I encourage you to do that. They also have an adopt the cow program. Some of you told us that you love the cows. So these cows are taken care of for their life. So after they're milking, they are not slaughtered for beef. They're just taken care of because they're like family members of this farm. So I encourage you to donate for that. The minimum you can do is leave your room as clean as possible.
That's a good one. That's a real good one. That's courtesy. Okay, part 3. And just for sake of review, the art of letting go was part 1. We did that Saturday morning. Sunday morning, the gift of the present, which follows the art of letting go. And then when you're present, this it's alliteration. It's a literary ornament when there's a consonant sound that's repeated. Alliteration. the attitude of gratitude. So I hope you appreciate the attitude of gratitude. Do you remember that pyramid, that lower consciousness, higher consciousness, lower frequency, higher frequency? And I noticed that at least the people that have studied this, their view, their finding or whatever, the frequency of gratitude is above the frequency of love. Interesting. So that's what our topic, the attitude of gratitude, our third part. The graphic here is meant to illustrate that sound, more than anything, than other senses, sense perception, sound affects the heart. Like, visual, like see the cows and see the peacocks. I don't know if you noticed, there was a peacock right outside the door here when we walked out. He wasn't doing this, wah, wah, but the sound adds to the visual, and sound affects the heart more than anything. So mantra meditation connected to sound is more powerful than silent meditation or other forms of meditation. Candle meditation, mandala meditation, chakra meditation, sound meditation. It affects the heart more. If you remember that alignment exercise that was done, maybe we're going to do it again. The heart is affected by sound. Well, how to deepen our meditation on the mantra? The message here is through gratitude. And I'll share with you my sense of gratitude. It's not the full expanse of it is what gratitude is. But we are receiving since infancy, even in the womb of our mother, we were receiving and receiving and receiving and receiving. And then after birth, receiving. And the Vedas, because we've been speaking openly about the Vedic wisdom, says from the time of birth, we're immediately indebted because we're receiving the light of the sun, which we take for granted, but without the light of the sun and the heat of the sun, there's no life. And water and air. Now we don't do nice things to the air and to the water, but it's given to us. And continue on, and everything that we need for our maintenance. Everything that we need for our maintenance. They're Vedic texts that say it. They're nice texts. Nityo nityanam, chaitanas chaitananam, eko bahunam, vididhati kaman. That's a Vedic text. The one is maintaining the many. So it's nice to say thank you. And more than saying thank you is not just the behavior, but something that's below the behavior. And that's this sense of gratitude. Because when there's a sense of gratitude, behavior will always be there. It's not circumstantial. It's something that you feel from the heart level. So how to deepen our meditation on mantra? It's connecting with that source of everything that's maintaining us, all of our necessities. So gratitude has this component. It's an internal shift, moving towards what we feel in a positive sense. because we were discussing a little bit about negative emotions, and holding on to negative emotions is debilitating. So something that can help move on from the negative is this power, a positive direction. There's a bumblebee, and bees are busy. And so this is a statement from our founder, my guru. The bee always is attracted by the honey, and flies go to the open source. You don't have to train the fly. You have to train the honey. It's just the nature of bees. They like to go gather the pollen and make honey. Similarly, the transcendentalist is only attracted by the good qualities in other people and does not focus on their faults. For those of you that are from India, you'll appreciate adosha darshi. Darshi means to see, and dosha means fault. And adosha is you don't see the faults. You can see, but you don't dwell on it. Just like that someone was speaking about their roommates in the dorm, I guess. And so there's something, wow. Got a signal. So, when you don't know somebody closely, it's easy to like people. And then you get really close to people, and you see their qualities and their faults. And we all have faults. So then, friendship starts to get thinner because we see each other's faults and we disagree and yada, yada, yada. So to help meditation is in interactions, social interactions with others, you see the quality, and qualities are resting on the Atma, the spark of life, the self within, the soul, whatever language, Atma. That's where quality is. And everyone has it, because we're all Atmas, we're all sparks of life. And then there's something that's covering, just like a diamond may be covered by mud. So you can just say, oh, it's muddy. But there's a diamond inside. And just polish a little bit, and there's the sparkling diamond. That's the living entity, the people that we get close to, whether it's family members, friends, or whatever it is. People that you didn't know before you came here. And we all have qualities and faults. So something that helps meditation is see quality, go further, see the spark of life within, and appreciate it with some gratitude for the good qualities. And then, in this mood of service, how can I be of assistance to this other person, my roommate or my friend or my family member or my spouse or whoever, to assist in going beyond some shortcoming or some dosha, some fault, because we all have them. It helps in the process of meditation. It's very natural and very powerful. It follows naturally from being present. So that's partly the... Oh, I didn't put the sound. Could you put the... Make us get the microphone. I did put on the little... No. Oh, you're going to do that? Okay, great. The technology geniuses getting us going. Are we ready? Ready?
Yes.
I'll get my little device going.
I got it now.
You got it now, so let's go back. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get my little... One moment, please. That's what the operators used to say.
Oh, I know why.
Well, we got something else going, so now, here we go.
What? Wait. I was getting so embarrassed.
What makes you happy? Having fun? Hanging out with friends? Delicious food? Making money? Well, consider this. Psychologists have scientifically proven that one of the greatest contributing factors to overall happiness in your life is how much gratitude you show. Yeah? Think about that. Go ahead and marinate on it for a second. You can thank me later if you want. It'll make you feel better according to this study. You go ahead and click on it and read it if you want. Or you can keep watching because we read it. We thought it might be fun to test out for ourselves. We gathered a selection of volunteers to act as our subjects. First, we gave them a test. They didn't know what we were looking for, but it gave us a pretty good idea of their current level of happiness. We asked them to close their eyes and think of somebody who was really influential in their life, somebody who did something really amazing or important for them. We had them write down as much as they could about why this person was so important. Now, a lot of them thought at this point the experiment was over, until we really put them on the spot and tried to get them to call that person and read what they wrote about. Jessica, we're going to have you call your mother. So who is that right person for you?
Person is my sister Erica.
We're going to give Erica a call.
Okay.
Who'd you end up picking?
Friend of mine, Greg Ames.
Her name is Dora.
I kind of mentioned that.
Really? Is this somebody you're still in touch with today?
No, I'm assuming that he's passed on.
That's a shame.
Great beyond.
You up for it?
Yes.
What would you say if we called up Dora?
Oh, well, we can try, but she lives in Britain.
In Britain?
I don't know a number by heart, but this is awful.
That's fine. I don't know my mom's number way.
If it's true that those who are gone are looking down on us, maybe you read my chance correct.
Hey, sweetheart.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
You got a second? Where you at? Hotel?
I am. I'm in the hotel. You scared me. I have to have
No, I'm on like this little TV show, and they told me to talk about the person that influenced me the most, and I picked you, and then they're making me call you. They're making me call you.
Oh, wonderful.
Hi, you reached me. I'm here right now.
At the tone, please record your message.
Oh, come on.
Hello?
Hi,
Hi.
Erica. It's me.
Alright, so I gotta read you this paragraph. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Alright, the person that influenced me the most would be my mother, Monroe Dawson. She is a single mother of 2. She is a very hard worker and dedicated to her family.
Hey, Craig, this is Lily. This is going to be a funny little voicemail, so I hope you enjoy it. I'm so sorry for calling you at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I have to read this to you, okay? And you can't say anything or, I don't know. You can respond, but I probably will just keep going. Okay?
Is everything okay?
Yes. but I have to read this out loud to you.
The person who has had the biggest impact on my life outside of Jesus Christ, who was responsible for my existence, was my college accounting instructor. He had a joy and enthusiasm for his job like no other teacher I have ever known.
I love her to death, and she keeps me going with positive talk. She is a woman that knows what she wants and won't give up until it is achieved.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm not surprised because that's so beautiful. I have to say that it's wonderful.
I first met Craig on an independent feature film set in Whitefish, Montana. I recently have been sending Craig a lot of positive thoughts as he suffered a series of health problems. Despite his medical problems, he's continued to work and take pleasure in the small things, in life like sitting quietly with his wife Janine on the porch.
Erica is my older sister and my best friend. Sometimes it even feels like we are twins. She's my #1 fan and my #1 supporter. She makes me happy because despite all my mistakes and my decisions, she still loves me no matter what.
Your friendship is everything. And you are one of the most important person in my life.
Even when she has a kid and many children, I will love her more than her kids. Okay, maybe not. I will never forget when she flew 3,000 miles at the drop of a phone call to save me from a breakup.
I'm being blessed to have a son like you. I love you.
Bye.
What did you do this?
I don't know because they made me do it.
Thank you for picking up. Bye, sweetie.
And then they're like, here, you're gonna write this letter. And then I wrote like this whole long ass letter, which, you know, I like don't write. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, guess what? Now we're gonna call her. And you're gonna read her this letter. And I was like, what the
Before we let them go, we gave our subjects one more happiness test. Now we mixed up and rephrased the questions so they didn't know they were taking the same test twice. For those who took the time to actually write something down but couldn't make the phone call for whatever reason, we saw happiness increase between 2 and 4%. Good, but not exactly mind-blowing. Now for those who actually picked up the phone and personally expressed their gratitude, we saw increases between 4 and 19%. So either way, expressing your gratitude will make you a happier person. But you want to know something really interesting? The person who experienced the biggest jump in happiness was the least happy person who walked in the door. What does that mean? That means if you're having a particularly tough time, trying this out will more likely have a greater impact on you. Trust me. You're gonna like it. In fact, while you're at it, film it and upload it to us. And we'll do something awesome with it. I'm Julian, and this has been The Science of Happiness.
Open that cake, subscribe.
Sound. Move the heart.
All right, so we have one exercise for today's presentation, and all of you need a pen and paper or a mobile device you can write on. Please take it out. It's a really nice activity. This is my favorite activity of the series. So you're going to write a letter to the source of everything, to Krishna, on thanking what these guys did in the video. Thanking Krishna for providing you whatever he provides you, whatever you're grateful for. And there are some examples there. A good digestive system is apparently something you can be grateful for. I feel like a lot of you are going to write about who you are grateful for rather than what after seeing that video. I would. have extra pens? Where is today? Again, do you have a phone? Oh, okay. Take your time, write as much as you want. If anybody needs a device or a pen to write or a paper, let us know. You want pen? And if anyone has an extra pen, raise your hand too. This is a really powerful exercise. I see a couple of you not writing. Please write. You have nothing to lose. You're not going to show it to anybody if you don't want to. Alright, who's done writing? Show of hands. Okay, we'll have some more time. More people are writing.
Ready?
Couple more minutes. A couple of people are finishing up, it looks like, but we can start that.
Multiple times we've spoken about Bhagavad Gita, and I saw yesterday many of you now have a copy of Bhagavad Gita, which is very nice. And I mentioned that Bhagavad Gita is sometimes compared to the undergraduate study, and then there's the graduate study. It's easy for students to relate to. So the graduate study literature is Srimad Bhagavatam. Somebody was asking me about it yesterday evening after the class. So this is a description of a history very early in the cycle of creation of a king who is pictured here, who had 2 wives, 2 queens, and the first son born, traditionally in this ancient culture, the eldest son, the first son born, would become the next king. And his name was Dhruva. And the second son born was born of the younger queen, who the king, I'm skipping the names because I don't want to get people bewildered with names. The king had more affection for the younger queen. She was, whatever, prettier or something. He had affection for her. So one day, the younger son was on the lap of the father. So the older son, Dhruva, wanted to get on his father's lap too. Very affectionate, natural gesture. But the mother of the younger son was very nasty. And she said, don't think that you can get on the lap of your father or ever sit on the throne of your father unless you die and then you're born as my son and then you can sit on your father's lap. Like really nasty. Dhruva, he's a little boy. What does he understand about dying and being born of her? But he understood it was an insult. So he looked to his father. And his father remained silent because he didn't want to correct his favorite queen because she might not be nice to him. So he was silent. Little Dhruva, little boy, 5 years old, he burst into tears. And he ran from the palace to go find his mother. There he's running. And he went to his mother, and she saw him crying and crying and crying, and she asked, what happened? And Dhruva told the story. And his mother said, I don't think there's anything I can do to help you because your father has affection for the younger queen. That's why I'm in a distant place, because he doesn't practically even care for me. And then little Dhruva said, basically, I want to get back. He didn't use those words. Mother, please tell me how I can not just get my father's kingdom, I'm already the eligible eldest son, but I want a kingdom that's better than my father's father's father. And she said, well, I don't know. Other than Vishnu, he's the source of everything. If Vishnu sanctions, anything can happen. So he processed that really quickly and said, very, very well. How do I find Vishnu? I'm just a lady. I've heard that sages, they go to the forest and somehow they find Vishnu, but I don't know how they find him. He said, very well, I'm leaving. I'm going to the forest to find Vishnu. And when he went to the forest to find Vishnu, he didn't find Vishnu. He found wildlife and birds and flowers, and he's a little boy. And then word spread, and one great sage named Narada heard this little boy's gone to the forest looking for Vishnu. So he came and said, Dhruva, revenge is not an elevated emotion. You can only find Vishnu if you're in purity. And gave many, 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 many explanations. And Dhruva said, everything you're saying is true and correct, and I believe it. But I'm this Kshatriya, I'm this administrator, spirited person, and I can't follow what you're saying. But you're a great sage. You can probably, if you want to, you can help me find Vishnu. Can you help me find Vishnu? So he was so determined. Dhruva then received from Narada a mantra to chant. You want to know what the mantra was? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Very simple. He gave him the mantra and gave him a process of meditation to do, and gave him a place where he could go and do it, in a sacred place. And Dhruva was very grateful. And it's the gratitude in Dhruva's heart that carried him to the stage of perfection. He went to the forest where he was advised to go, and he did his Ashtanga yoga, in this case standing on one foot in severe austerities and chanting of his mantra. Intense absorption. And Dhruva was a very powerful meditator. In 6 months, that's really fast, through mantra meditation, he saw Lord Vishnu, and Vishnu touched him upon his head. And being touched by the hand of Vishnu, he then offered these beautiful, it's very, very beautiful words of appreciation, of gratitude for Narada and for the mercy of Lord Vishnu, saying, I had this idea that I want a kingdom, and I don't want a kingdom anymore. I'm beyond that material desire, and I simply want to be with you. Can I be with you? And Vishnu said, well, you had this strong desire, so here's the arrangement that I would like for you. You go back to your father's palace, you will rule, following your father's rule in the kingdom for a long time, and then you can come to me. And so forth. And so Vishnu disappeared, and Dhruva cried. What mercy he had received. And what a misfortune that he had this material motivation. Now he has to rule a kingdom for a long time. But eventually he attained Vishnu's association. There's his mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the text of the Bhagavatam reads, thereafter Dhruva ruled his father's kingdom for many, many years. But he was detached and clean in his consciousness. He was not affected by the practical busyness of his duties. He found spiritual peace within. That's directly the text from Srimad Bhagavatam. So I don't know if you can read this text. At the bottom, down here, this is one of the persons, a great personality, more recent, some 450, 500 years ago, who wrote his appreciation for mantra meditation, and it goes like this. There's 3 stages. I do not know how much nectar the 2 syllables Krishna have produced. Next. When that holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears within the mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. That's how it starts, to make the sound. And then you hear the sound. When that name enters the holes of the ears, we desire many millions of ears. That would look funny. But that's the feelingness of Rupa Goswami. And next, after the mouth and then the ear, when that holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. Yesterday I quoted a text from chapter 6. Chapter 6 is the chapter that deals with the yoga system that you were practicing each morning and evening. The eightfold yoga system, the asanas and pranayama, 2 parts of that system. And the goal of that system is to absorb meditation on Paramatma. The Atma absorbs meditation on Paramatma within. That's what yogis in the mature stage do. And that mature stage is called samadhi, total absorption. And that total absorption is what happens when mantra meditation, same samadhi. The mind, the sound is vibrated. The sound is, when it's done properly, is heard. And it goes to the heart. This is the gratitude topic. It goes to the heart. And when it goes to the heart, that restless mind becomes stunned. And when the restless mind becomes stunned, the senses also become inert. That's the stage of samadhi, the stage of total absorption. And it's not, it takes some time to get there because the mind is restless, etc. And we don't hear so carefully. It doesn't touch the heart immediately. So now this is a much shorter presentation this morning than the other group. There's some daily practice elements that are helpful. Those of you that practice yoga, there's some persons here who teach yoga. The authority, ancient personality, not the author of the Vedas, the compiler, but Patanjali wrote little sutras, means codes, like a little aphorism, like summarizing the essence of the yoga system. So he, Patanjali, speaks, there's 3 elements of sadhana. Do you remember from, I forget which morning it was, I mentioned in Ayurveda, there's 2 kinds of fire within the body, fire in the stomach and fire in the heart. The fire in the stomach digests food, and the fire in the heart digests negative emotions. And even the positive ones you can be situated transcendently above. So that sadhaka Agni is the one in the heart, and it's nourished by sadhana. So here's what he teaches about sadhana or practice. 3 parts. Dirgha Kala, that's the Sanskrit term. Kala means time. We spoke a little bit about time. Dirgha Kala means sustained over time. And continuing for many days, uninterruptedly, every day, 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 every day. So when you go home, you're invited to try every day some everyday mantra meditation. Something that I remember learning as a small boy was, if there's something that's good for you, when you reach the conclusion something is good for you, it's best to do it every day, at least regularly, like you brush your teeth. I know a little boy, he didn't like to brush his teeth. So his parents had to why wind him up again to brush his teeth. Just doesn't like to brush his teeth. But you should do it every day because it's good for you, oral hygiene. So anything that's good for you, you do every day. That's this Nairamparya. Success doesn't come from what you do occasionally, it comes from what you do consistently. Something good, do it regularly. And then the third is with reverence or faith. That is, it's going to get you to a good place. I like using the example of the Ayurvedic doctor that I continue to see after so many years because my health was like a wreck at a certain point. And I didn't know if I was going to continue living. I was like fearful, but health was really debilitating. And I experienced something from the medicine that he gave and the diet that he prescribed. My health went up. So to get to that stage of following what he said, there was some faith in him, because I visited 5 different doctors who were recommended persons, and I felt some confidence in him. And the results were elevated that faith in him and his ability to heal or make wellness happen. So this is according to Patanjali. To do, this came out of the lunch discussion yesterday, to do practice regularly, you have to have some confidence it's going to take you to a good place. There's a why. You know what the good place looks like, some idea at least, and this is going to, it's a vehicle, get me there. So you do it regularly with faith. Daily practice tips. Now, you've heard several times this gruesome message about Brahma Muhurta. I checked. The sun rises at 6:30. Brahma Muhurta is a measure of time, different than seconds, minutes, and hours. It's Muhurta, essentially. It's an hour and 36 minutes. And Brahma Muhurta is an hour and 36 minutes before the sunrise. So the sun rises here this morning at 6:30. 5 o'clock, not 5:30. And that's ideal. Maximum benefit. So if that's too early for you, no problem. But early in the morning is best. But this is superlatively the best. Maximum benefit before the sun rises. It's good, even if you live in New York City or wherever else you might live, that's not so serene like this picture or what we are today. But where you live, it's good if you have a peaceful and clean space. I'm not calling it, a sacred space. Something that you go there every day, and that's where you do your meditation, your higher consciousness activities. And by doing that, the whole atmosphere becomes spiritualized. We discussed spiritualized yesterday. Taking an iron rod and putting it in the fire becomes like fire. Our consciousness and space becomes spiritualized just by regular practice. We heard about good posture. One sharing. There's somebody I know, a teenager, that was experiencing a struggle with depression. It happens. So they shared that with me. And so we have this next relationship. And I noticed that when they sit like a sack of potatoes. So I just made a simple suggestion. What if you sat in good posture? Is that possible? Again, the relationship is such, I can say those things. And so they tried. Their outlook changed just from that one thing. There were other things involved in their life, but that one thing really helped. Clean and sacred space, silence before and after, so like, you know, set yourself, not just, you know, another busy thing and another busy thing, but this reflect, go to a quiet mode of goodness place inside, and then commence. There may be other things that you like to do, but it's helpful. And at the end, like those that do yoga, at the end, what comes at the end? You integrate all those things that you did just by lying silently for some period of time. As with the physical body, so also with the mind. Okay, this is our last slide. And then we're going to have questions right after that. Go for it.
Alright, so we went through different tips to meditate today. We have a sacred space. We have a good posture, and most of you are already sitting in good postures. And Mahamantra Prabhu has distributed beads to all of you. Let me grab them. So we have said this a few times already, but if you haven't heard it, the head bead is the Krishna bead, and you start chanting on the second bead, and you go around. So one mantra, one bead, and then you go around. So when you chant a full set of beads, that's called one round. And serious practitioners of Bhakti Yoga chant many rounds a day. The prescribed number of rounds is 16, which takes about 2 hours, but you don't have to start doing it tomorrow. So you should get there. The goal is to start with a little bit, like Maharaj said, consistently and with faith. And then you chant 1 round a day for a month, and if you like that, you do 2 rounds a day, and so on and so forth. So with I'll do the alignment exercise, even though all of you are familiar. So sorry to grind the floor again, but really quickly, the 3 P's of alignment of the body, posture. So all of you sit in good posture. The hand that is not holding the bead, you can put in the Jnana Mudra to increase your focus. If you are holding the bead with both hands, that's okay. Second P is pronunciation. So you have chanted the Mahamantra many times so far in this retreat, but nonetheless, please repeat after me the 3 words of the Mahamantra. Hare, Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Rama, Rama. So Hare again is the energy of the divine, the energy of the infinite. Krishna and Rama are names of the infinite. Infinite by definition has infinite characteristics, and name is a characteristic, and infinite by definition has infinite names. Krishna and Rama are very powerful sound vibrations, which are primary names of God or the divine. So this, the third P is already we went through, the Guru Samti, the Brahma Muhurta, like Maharaj hinted at. None of these are limitations. You can chant the Mahamantra wherever you want, whenever you want, but these are just recommendations to get maximum benefit. The alignment of the mind, we went through 3 wonderful presentations, the art of letting go. So today consciously let us lose or not attach ourselves to any bodily conceptions, not attach ourselves to any of our possessions. Let's really feel that we are an eternal spark of energy which is not material, and from that platform let us try to chant. Let us not, the second presentation was the gift of the present. So let us be in this moment, just focus on the chanting. We're going to drive a long way to Boston and New York and other places. That comes later. Don't think about that. Yesterday night you might have slept late and got up early. Don't think about that either. Let's just focus on the sound vibration right now. The third presentation, gratitude. You did this exercise of writing a letter to the divine about what you are thankful about. That was meant to open up your heart. So with that gratitude, we have so much to be thankful about. everything comes from the infinite source, nothing belongs to us. It is given to us so that we can use it for our lives, for service. So with that gratitude, sort of encompassing all the messages that Maharaj talked about, and aligning our heart, let's chant with feeling. Let's chant together with feeling for 20 minutes. As I usually do, I will increase the tempo as we go along. So we'll start with a slower tempo for about 5 minutes. Let's all chant together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is the last time we will do group chanting at this retreat. So I'm sure you made a lot of friends. So let's establish that connection stronger by really getting into this last one time. Let's really chant together. Increase tempo, increase speed. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. let us all really chant with gratitude. To give you a graphical representation, Hare, the energy of the divine, is on the right, Radha, and Krishna, the divine, is on the left. So you can meditate on the deities and we can chant together with increased tempo for 2 more minutes, and then we end with our usual cosmic call. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So for our final group hug, cosmic hug, let us really get into it from our heart with gratitude. So for example, so many volunteers who are mostly sitting on this side of the room, and Maharaj have put in a lot of effort. This planning for this retreat started 4 months ago, and also our friends who are the residents of this farm have put in a lot of effort to get this retreat ready. So one thing we can be grateful for is all their services, and we are also grateful for you guys taking the time. An entire weekend is not a short period of time these days, so we are grateful for you guys coming all the way from close and distant cities. So hope you found the retreat useful. So as our final exercise, we have question and answer session, but as our final meditation exercise of this retreat, let's raise our hands. And with feeling and with love, you can stand up if you like. Just let it go. You are not this body. You are eternal spark of energy. Krishna and Radha are here with us, who are the divine. Let's connect with them and let's connect with each other by chanting out aloud now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna
There was somebody over here that had a question.
So I just had a quick question about mantra meditation. And it comes, so I always meditate for 10 minutes, and sometimes I think I get focused on 10 minutes of meditation. Do you pick how many times you're going to say the words, like how many times you're going to repeat the mantra, or how much time you're going to do it, just as a beginner?
The second one.
Okay.
And is there a one? Okay. What's important is hearing, not how many. So it can be slow, it can be medium, it can be fast, but it's hearing. There's this experience that the ear can conquer the mind through sound. The mind rules, but the ear can rule the mind. The restless mind. The one that's filled with lots of stuff. And it doesn't get tired. But the mind becomes inert. There's sun, excuse me. But this by sound. So that's the answer. Others? Back?
Hi. My question is about yesterday you were talking about the path, like other people go and go here. Hi.
People do what?
Hi, excuse me. Hi.
Oh, there we are.
You were talking about the path, like the path is there because people go and go back, and there is the path. So all my life I am looking for a reason to live.
All your life you've done what?
Looking for a reason to live, why we are here, what I'm doing, what I'm supposed to do. I am in the right place, I am not. So following up path is an answer that I have a time ago. And then when we told like the path, should we choose one path and keep
A little further away because the sound is getting tired. Keep going, keep going.
better this way?
It's better.
So we should choose one path.
Path.
Yeah.
Well, you like many paths?
Like in my life, I go there, and then I feel like we should go create some routines, some patterns,
Yes.
and hold that.
Yes. Yes.
Keep going.
But, so, there's two things. There's the goal, and then the path to reach the goal. During different stages of life, there may be emphasis on this. And then at another stage, you don't lose that, but and then an emphasis on that. But the goal doesn't need to change. Just a matter of emphasis on something, and then it's with you because it went in, and now it's with you. Now, my understanding of, the response to your question, something that's at the very beginning and the middle and at the end, well, two somethings. That's sound, ideally sacred sound, ideally mantra, and connect with that. That's something you don't need to, go away from. It's with you, and it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. There's no bottom. And good association. Beginning and the middle, and in this stage of perfection, good association. So it doesn't mean we shun others, but those that you open your heart to most fully and intimately share with and connect with, good association, that category of people. Kind of like this, the gratitude little exercise. It can be something, and then open your heart to those persons. And it's not just like you feel happy, but those persons are able to touch your heart, and that's good association. Now, someone we just use this word wisdom. That's a word that they use a lot in China. Wisdom. So we say, wisdom literature. But a person who is wise, not just a person that has information. A person whose heart is clear. Their mind is clear. They don't want to manage your life. They're wise persons. And you can bring things to a wise person and get light. It doesn't have to be, the person right next to you. If you have somebody right next to you like that, that's great. But there should be somebody, at least one, that's wise. You have friends, and you have friendships, and persons that are more elevated than you, and persons that are less experienced than you, and persons that are equals with your peers. But somebody, and then with those two things in place, some emphasis on this and some emphasis on that. Another really good one, if you want a third one, is wisdom literature. Wisdom literature, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are two very primary ones. And so something that doesn't have to change, something every day, some wisdom message. And you reflect on it, let it go in. And something moves inside. And you do that every day, and it becomes, how did I live my life without it? So those are three things. And then still the emphasis on this, emphasis on that. Maybe it's overcoming a weakness. Maybe it's utilizing a strength. Maybe it's something, I like music, so I want to cultivate my musical skill. I like writing. I like painting. I like this thing and that. I like exercising. So you don't leave that behind just for some period of time you may want to focus on. But those other things, they're consistent, and so now you're moving forward, going more deep into understanding who I really am, along with developing my interests and what's important to me, relationships, a friendship, whatever it is, some skill, something that gives you energy and strength and vibrancy, and so you give attention to that. That's good. But these core things stay with you all the time, throughout your life. Okay.
Thank you.
Somebody in the back has their hand up.
Hi, good morning. So I have a question about the practice of gratitude. So I keep a daily gratitude journal, and there are days when I'm not having the best day, and even though I'm sitting down and writing what I'm grateful for, I feel like there's a disconnect between what I'm writing down and how I'm actually feeling, and that sometimes I feel like it's almost like forcing myself to think about the things that I'm grateful for. And in those moments, I also feel like I need to look for things that I'm grateful for, and then it makes me think like I'm searching externally to find these things, to think about like what it is that I'm grateful for, what are the things that bring me happiness, and then I feel like that is at odds with the concept that we have it in us to always be happy, and that happiness stems internally. So I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on how to reconcile those feelings.
Yeah, I have some thoughts. I don't have like a bullet, but I have some thoughts. Physical therapy, have you ever had the requirement to visit a physical therapist? Or do you know somebody that has?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Using the physical therapist model, when there's something that's in the body is weak, a muscle is weak and you can't, whatever, then the physical therapist will take a look at, what's the range of what you can do, and then they'll recommend something. So, supposing you can't lift your arm. So, put your hand on the table and lift half an inch and do 10 of those. Whatever it is. I had to think of my knee, so I'm familiar. I couldn't. So, slowly, if you have a good physical therapist, you do 5 of those and 10 of those and 15 of those 3 times a day. And then slowly, the muscle structure develops. And then you can do the whole thing. But initially it's, but if the therapist is good and you're doing what the therapist said, it develops that muscle again. The capacity to do the thing that's really normal, but then you're just following some guidance to do something with that which is normal. Then, something that I learned from the physical therapist is the intention behind it is really important. And I'll give an example. The physical therapist, after said, so what is it that you want? And I said, I want to be able to walk up and down stairs, not like an old man. She said, good. I wrote it down. What else? And I said, well, I haven't thought too much about what else. She said, okay, well, give it some thought. So, she dwelled on it. And then the next time, in between, so the next time I was with the therapist, she asked the question again. And I said, here's what I'd like. I'm going to India. She said, oh, my friend is going to India too. Okay. And I'm going to a place that's just outside of Delhi. She said, oh, she's going to Delhi too. Where are you going? Like a very social gal. And I said, well, it's a place where Krishna appeared, and there's a mountain in the place where Krishna appeared, and I want to be able to walk around that mountain. You said, great. I'll tell my friend, what's the name of the mountain? I gave her the name of the mountain. Govardhan. And so then I started doing 5 of those, 10 of those, and 15 of those. And it was really boring. I was doing it, but it was boring. And then, when I was thinking, I want to be able to walk around Govardhan Hill. And when that consciousness, intention, was behind the activity, it was not only a breeze, but it felt like this is really effective. Because the intention was what was really important to me. And I wasn't even thinking about what's really important to me until she asked the question. I just wanted to be able to not be a grandfather, grumpy fellow that has to hobble around. I don't want it. Can you help me with that? So, the intention behind the gratitude journal is really important. Even if it's little, just add some oil, some lubrication, and then start to
Okay, so I guess I have like a specific example of like the thought process I had today. So I was walking and the sun came out. And when the sun came out, I thought to myself, I'm really grateful that the sun came out because I feel warmer. I just feel like I am wrapped in warmth and the rays from the sun, right? And then I thought, well, if it were raining, I wouldn't have the same thought process. I wouldn't say, oh, I'm grateful that it's raining. And then I thought, but then it shouldn't matter whether it's sunny or whether it's raining, because I should just be internally happy and grateful for the fact that I'm walking and that I'm breathing, but I don't feel that way. So I feel like they're kind of at odds with each other.
That's
Like,
why you
why
have
am I not
two
grateful?
things. Exercise the gratitude muscle and you'll get there. And the second is read wisdom literature because it'll take you beyond, whether it's sunny or raining. Because you need the rain too. And so I'm grateful for the rain because what's life without water? And it's part of what the sun does. It evaporates water and it comes down as rain and then we can have what we need. So the big picture is assisted by wisdom literature. And also by mantra meditation because it awakens that sense in the heart of who we really are. And, as we've been hearing, we're part of this big thing, the cosmos. And all necessities, including the rain and the sun, not just. So the big picture opens from wisdom literature, exercising the gratitude muscle, and mantra meditation. It just evolves. It evolves. It's inside and it awakens. Yeah, very wonderful questions. I like your questions. Looks like we have to head out. Some persons have some deadlines to meet. Thank you all.